The American West, a land of promise, of vast, sun-scorched plains and rugged, unforgiving mountains. For countless pioneers in the 19th century, it was the dream of a new life. They packed their worldly belongings into covered wagons, said goodbye to all they knew, and set out on treacherous trails, seeking fortune and freedom. But for some, this dream became a terrifying nightmare. Their journeys didn't end in a bustling new settlement or a plot of fertile land. They ended in silence. They simply vanished, swallowed whole by the immense, untamed wilderness. Today, we delve into one of the most chilling chapters of the Old West, the mystery of the lost caravans. Picture this, a long line of wagons, creaking under the weight of family heirlooms and farming tools, pulled by weary oxen. Children's laughter occasionally breaks the silence, a hopeful sound in a desolate landscape. They follow trails like the Oregon or the Santa Fe paths littered with the bones of livestock and the graves of those who didn't make it. But this group is different. They won't even leave behind a marked grave. One day, they're a moving, living community inching across the continent. The next, they're gone. No survivors, no letters sent back, no trace. Just an unnerving, empty space where they used to be. These weren't isolated incidents. Scattered throughout the history of westward expansion are whispers and tales of entire wagon trains disappearing. One of the most famous and perplexing is the legend of the lost wagon train of the Sierra Nevada. The story goes that in the late 1850s, a large, well-supplied party of settlers attempted a shortcut through the mountains, a route they believed would save them weeks of travel. They were never seen again. Years later, prospectors and hunters would stumble upon strange, isolated clues. A rusted wagon wheel, half buried in a dry riverbed. A child's doll lying pristine under a rock overhang. Or a set of human bones bleached white by the sun, miles from any known trail. But never the entire caravan. It was as if they had been erased. So, what could have happened? The most obvious, and perhaps most terrifying, explanation is the sheer brutality of nature itself. The American West was a land of extremes. A sudden, unseasonable blizzard could bury a wagon train under feet of snow in a matter of hours. Ours was the tragic fate of the Donner Party. Flash floods could thunder through canyons with no warning, sweeping away wagons, people, and animals in a torrent of water and debris, leaving nothing but scoured rock behind. In the vast deserts of the Southwest, the sun was a relentless enemy. A wrong turn, a dried-up water source, and a caravan could find itself stranded, its members slowly succumbing to dehydration and heatstroke, their bodies scattered and scavenged by predators before anyone could find them. In such a vast and indifferent landscape, it would untake much for an entire group to be wiped out and their remains scattered so widely that they would effectively disappear forever. Then there were the human dangers. While stories of massive, coordinated attacks wiping out an entire caravan are rare, they can't be entirely discounted. Relations between settlers and Native American tribes were complex and often violent. A desperate, starving group of pioneers might have trespassed on sacred land or depleted a crucial resource, leading to a swift and brutal retaliation. The goal of such an attack might not just be to eliminate the intruders, but to remove all evidence of their presence, scattering their belongings and leaving no witnesses. Similarly, the West was crawling with outlaws and bandits. A large, well-supplied wagon train would have been a tempting target. A ruthless gang could have ambushed a caravan in a remote pass, taken everything of value, and left no one alive to tell the tale. In these scenarios, the perpetrators would have every reason to hide their crime, burying bodies in unmarked graves and burning the wagons to obliterate any proof. But these logical explanations don't always fit the eerie details of the legends. This brings us to the more speculative and, frankly, more unsettling theories. Some stories speak of strange phenomena. Peel of a lost caravan in Utah, for example, claims that the last person to see them was a lone trapper who reported the pioneers seemed dazed and were following a strange, shimmering light in the sky. When he tried to warn them, they didn't seem to hear him. This has led to all sorts of modern speculation, from mass hypnosis to, you guessed it, alien abduction. While it's easy to dismiss these as campfire stories, it's important to remember that for the people of the time, the world was a much more mysterious place. Local legends of cursed lands, of malevolent spirits guarding the mountains, or of mythical beasts were very real to them. Could a caravan have stumbled into a place they weren't meant to be, a place governed by forces beyond their comprehension? Think about the psychological toll of the journey. Months of isolation, constant fear, exhaustion, and malnutrition. It's not a stretch to imagine that a group's collective sanity could begin to fray. Did internal conflict spiral into catastrophic violence? Did a charismatic but delusional leader guide his followers to their doom, convinced he was on a divine mission? Imagine a scenario where, driven by paranoia or a shared delusion, a group turned on itself, or simply walked off into the desert one by one, leaving their wagons and possessions behind as they followed a mirage. The scene left behind would be deeply puzzling. A perfectly good campsite, maybe even with food still in the cooking pots, but completely devoid of people. This psychological collapse offers a chilling possibility, one that places the horror not in the outside world, but within the human mind itself. Let's look at the evidence, or lack thereof. The primary reason these mysteries endure is the absence of a complete picture. What we have are fragments. A diary found years later, its final entry describing a growing sense of unease or a dwindling water supply. A set of initials carved into a rock in an impossibly remote location. These breadcrumbs hint at a story, but never tell the whole tale. Archaeology has solved some historical puzzles, but the West is vast. A wagon train could lie at the bottom of a little explored canyon, or be buried under a century and a half of soil and vegetation, waiting to be discovered. The tantalizing possibility remains that one day a hiker, a geologist, or an archaeologist will stumble upon a site that finally provides the answers to one of these enduring mysteries. The stories of the lost caravans are more than just historical curiosities. They are a powerful reminder of the immense courage and the immense risk of the pioneer experience. They speak to our primal fear of the unknown, of being lost and overwhelmed by a world that is indifferent to our existence. They are ghost stories, written not with ink and paper, but etched into the very landscape of the American West. The empty plains and silent canyons hold their secrets, and perhaps they always will. The pioneers gambled everything for a new beginning, and for some, the price was complete and utter annihilation, becoming nothing more than a whisper on the wind, a chilling legend of a caravan that drove off the map and into mystery. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the shadows of the Old West. What do you think happened to these lost souls? Was it nature, human violence, or something stranger? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations of history's greatest mysteries. We'll see you on the next adventure.